one was about like my kid came home and said the teacher says we can't do Thanksgiving. You're not supposed to do Thanksgiving because of what we did to the Indian. And you know, the mother just had to say, we're doing fucking Thanksgiving, okay? Yeah. This is just insane. But there is something going on with sort of high income white liberal people.
Yeah.
This sort of like racial self-loathing.
Bill Maher brought this comedian Bert Kreischer onto his podcast, the Club Random Podcast, and Bill Maher was forced to school this guy, Bert Kreischer, this comedian, on how bad the woke cult is. They both kind of agree that it's bad, but this guy has no idea how bad it truly is, like Bill Maher knows. And you got to admit, man, Bill Maher has been having a whole lot of common sense takes recently, and it's good to see. Now, he's not all the way outside of the woke cult, that's for sure. Whenever the Donald Trump name gets brought up, it's like he reverts right back to his old ways during 2020, where he was absolutely unhinged and extremely woke, Bill Maher, back in the day. But right now, he's out there schooling these comedians, such as Bert Kreischer here on the Club Random Podcast. Let's get into this clip and check it out.
I find this to be so funny, and no one ever fucking sees the comedy in this. We were in Tampa, and I went with a bunch of dudes, and they said it's such a cool experience. But we went into a bad neighborhood movie theater, so it was like 50 black kids sitting up front. So when the guys came up front to start acting, the black kids just started heckling the Rocky Horror Picture Show actors.
But we're not saying where black kids is necessarily a bad place, right? Let's get you not canceled.
Okay, yeah, but it was where we went was.
You're saying it was a rough neighborhood.
It was a rough neighborhood, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a rough neighborhood. Whatever. I don't know how to talk anymore. I just say the thing that's real.
Okay, right.
By the way, you're the fucking reason for that. I've been a fan of yours for too long. You've said shit that is so real that I go everyone, dude, I can't even, like, I would go off on a tangent for the amount of times that my wife goes, hey, I need you to watch this. And then it's a clip of you interviewing fucking, just everyone. You're very prolific and you're very dialed into, you know, there was a period where
wonder if Bert Kreischer's wife shows his wife my videos. That would be funny as hell.
And my wife thought we were losing our minds as Democrats in LA.
Right.
Because all of a sudden we were like, we didn't feel connected to we would go to these school functions and the way people were talking was so crazy. So crazy that we were like, are we not? We went to a thing for Georgia to go to high school and they said, and like, the school seems pretty good. And then they're like, is it true you make the boys sit on the floor and the girls can stand on chairs and yell at them and oppress them? And they're like, yes, that is true. And I was like, what the fuck? And they're like, is it true that you have the white kids sit on the floor and people of color yell insults to them? And they go, we do. It's to teach them. And so you see parents nodding like, that's really smart. Right. And I'm just sitting there with Leanne going, well, I'm not sending my kid.
If you enjoy content like this, so make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
Here. No fucking way.
Bert, I cannot tell you how many times I have heard a version of this story from parents. Yeah. And apparently, I am the whisperer that people tell because I guess they've seen me talk on TV. And, you know, I do have a common theme that, look, like you said, a liberal in LA, and you feel like some sort of an outsider because it's the difference between liberal and woke. Yeah. And this kind of stuff that woke, I have no problem with the term when it used to just mean alert to injustice. Mm-hmm. When it became about this nonsense that you're talking about now.
Yeah.
And for people who think, oh, they exaggerate. Well, it's not everywhere. Nothing is everywhere. There's, thousands and thousands of different schools who do things differently. But for people who want to pretend that this kind of nonsense isn't going on, that's equally with your head up your ass.
Yeah, there definitely is a difference between liberal and woke, no doubt about it. But the line is becoming blurry. It's being more and more blurred as we go. Because it's just like words mean nothing anymore. Like the word liberal, like what does it mean? It means something to one person and something completely different to another person. But what I think Bill Maher probably views as a liberal would be himself, Joe Rogan, those sorts of people. So in that instance, yeah, because Joe Rogan, he's not a Republican, not even close. I would say he probably is more of a liberal type. He probably doesn't care too much about the abortion topic. He probably thinks it's fine to have abortions, or not fine at any point in time, right? But probably has like a certain trimester that he thinks is okay in, and he probably, he definitely wants weed legalized, countrywide, which a lot of Republicans would disagree with. So yeah, he's not a Republican, no doubt about it, but he's definitely not woke, and he definitely could have gone down that route. People like Bill Maher, people like Joe Rogan, they could have definitely gone down that route. It's probably more money if you go down that route. It's probably easier in terms of your pockets. You get paid, especially people who work for these large corporations like Bill Maher does, right? He still works on mainstream television. So it's a lot easier to just go the woke route. Joe Rogan's getting deals from Spotify and stuff like that. It'd be way easier if he just went the woke route. Way easier to sign someone like that if you're Spotify, but they didn't. And you got to respect it, man. And it's good that Bill Maher is also, schooling people like Bert Kreischer on how bad the woke cult really is.
Yeah.
You're not seeing what's really, and you're right. And the parents who nod along. And this is something else I've heard from a lot of parents who are, again, I'm the confessor here, and they're telling me about what goes on in their schools and how they, sometimes have to pull them out or just have to one was about my kid came home and said the teacher says we can't do Thanksgiving. You're not supposed to do Thanksgiving because of what we did to the Indian. And the mother just had to say, we're doing fucking Thanksgiving, okay?
Yeah.
This is just insane. But there is something going on with sort of high income white liberal people.
Yeah.
This sort of racial self-loathing that is not helping any real problem.
Well, it's not
giving any black people anything that society owes them or improves lives.
Yeah.
It's just about, what is this with standing on chairs and yelling at children?
They did for a Christmas parade, the Christmas special, the kids, I don't know, times where you're forced into situations you don't want to be in.
Right. And forced to, and peer pressured to think the group think like we all think. And yes, this is, you said your wife and I watch, I guess, real time and see me talking about this. And I hear it a lot. There is just this oppressive atmosphere of groupthink, and it's in most of other TV shows.
Yeah.
And people are like, is it me? Am I nuts? And I love it when people talk to me like this, because it's like, no, you're not nuts and I'm not nuts.
Yeah.
The world is going a little nuts.
I watched, what's her name? Barbara Streisand. Bette Midler tweeted out.
Yes.
And then Mark Hamill's in my movie. Mark Hamill plays.
Yeah. And these people, like Mark Hamill's a great example. They will act like we are the nuts ones. It really is just such a black pilling thing for me, because like I said, I don't know if I said it earlier in this video or the video that I did before this, but two people can be presented with the same exact facts and come to two completely different conclusions and solutions for said fact. It's wild. It's absolutely insane. And it's such a black pilling thing for me, where it's like, if I can tell someone, like I said, an objective fact, and they can come to a completely different conclusion than me. If I told Hassan, me and Hassan Piker live in the same world, and he believes that the solution to all of our problems is socialism, that's a massive problem. And it's not just Hassan that's the problem. It's the fact that he's one of the largest political streamers out there. People love his ideas. That's the black pill, right? That's the reason why I don't have much hope for the future of America at all. Because everybody's just so brainwashed, man. It's not just the left. There's definitely right-wingers who are brainwashed, right? Especially when it comes to the Middle East stuff. Some of them are just insane. It's absolutely nuts how some of them think about the Middle East. And I'll leave it to you, to decide which side I'm on that. I can't mention my side, as I'm sure you know what I mean by that now. The side that I'm on, it's not allowed to be said. But which proves to you which one is probably the right side, right? But regardless, those are definitely brainwashed right-wingers, right? The Daily Wire viewers, those are brainwashed right-wingers. People who are diehard Ben Shapiro fans. You got a problem, okay? You got a problem. You're brainwashed too. But everybody else who's normal on the right wing, they're not as brainwashed as the entirety of the left wing is. They are completely delusional. And you can make them lose all common sense if you just bring up the name Donald Trump. It's like a spell. that we cast on them. It's like you bring up Donald Trump in conversation, they lose their minds, you know? Bill Maher is the same way. He's having a lot of common sense takes recently. This is one of them. But you bring up Donald Trump in conversation, he loses all common sense. He loses it all. It's wild, man. But at least he's out there, you know, educating these other comedians, educating other people, other celebrities like Bert Kreischer here on the Club Random Podcast. Let me know in the comments what you think about everything Bill Maher had to say to this comedian, Bert Kreischer, here live on the Club Random Podcast.